Hey Flosstube, I'm back. I know I just posted a video yesterday, but I actually had recorded that on New Year's Eve. And I realized that there were some things that I probably wanted to cover, but didn't. So I thought, well, I'll do another video, clean some things up, clarify some things, and then hopefully get onto a schedule where I'm doing them on the weekends. I'm not sure how often I'll do them right now. I don't know if I'll do them weekly. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. It will probably depend on how much stitching I do too. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll play it by ear at this point. But anyway, I posted the one video yesterday. I appreciate all of the views and the subscribes. I started at 0. So, here we go. So anyway, so the first thing I wanted to do that I didn't do in the previous video is show my 2019 orts. I keep them in just this Starbucks Frappuccino glass, and that's all my 2019 orts. And I would normally just throw them away. I don't do anything with them. But this year, I think I'm going to put them in a Ziploc bag because I know I'm going to be finishing a lot of ornaments this year and use them for stuffing. So anyway, so that's all my 2019. I started squishing them down pretty tightly there. So, but yeah, considering I didn't stitch for several months towards the end of the year because of moving and that kind of thing, quite a bit in there. So there's that. I didn't do any haul last video, and I did have haul from the end of the year. I had put some orders in on Etsy and 123, but it kind of all just got mixed up together with my other stuff, and so I didn't have it split out. One thing that I can show you though, when I was in California for Christmas, what I did was we went to Joann's on Christmas Eve. I wanted to get some fabric for finishes because I don't really have any fabric. I'm not a fabric person. I don't sew a ton. So I wanted to get some fabric, and I was just going to get some fat quarters just to have on hand, just, to be available. But the fat quarters weren't on sale, and they were $2.99 each, and that seemed like a lot of money. But they had a lot of fabric on sale for 30% off, and their Christmas fabric was on sale for 60% off. So I ended up getting third of a yard cuts on a bunch of different fabric. And so I got a nice selection of, just kind of rainbow color fabric. I got one of every color family, just to, again, have on hand that I thought I might like for finishes. And then I got a couple of neutrals that I really like. That's silver with white dots, or well, gray with silver dots, excuse me, and then white with silver dots. And I prefer silver over gold, so that really worked out well for me. And then, like I said, their Christmas fabric was 60% off. So I got all of these cut. Each of the cuts were anywhere between $1.33 and like $1.75, depending on the percentage off. So I got way more fabric than I would have got for a fat quarter for way less. So Christmas fabric that I got. I love this plaid. So good. This one does have red dots in it, but I thought, there's a lot of charts that will go with that. And then this is just another plaid, but it's got writing on it. So anyway, I got about 13 cuts, and it may not do everything that I want it to do, but it's at least a start on some finishing fabric and things like that. I also have stocked up, because I knew I was going on No Spin 2020. I stocked up on chenille trim and mini pom-poms from Lady Dot crates on Etsy and that kind of thing. So we'll see. All right. So finishes. I have actually had a couple finishes since New Year's. And if you follow me on Instagram, I'm Wow Princess on Instagram, then you have seen these. But the first one is July, Lizzie Kate, little bits. And then I finished May as well. So I got those two. And as you know, Melissa, SticherMel, and me are doing 20 smalls in 2020. So 2 down, 18 to go on a roll. Though I have put the smalls down for now and switched out to some bigger pieces because we also are doing 6 of our bigger pieces. We want 6 finishes in 2020. So I need to start working on those as well. So anyway, and then I did have my New Year, New Start, which was knee high. Get that a little closer. So I am also doing magical stitches this year. And in magical stitches, I use this for the first week's homework and then also for one of the group stitch projects in our resorts. So I was able to use all of those stitches for qualifying items in magical stitches. For those of you who don't know, which I'm sure you mostly do, Magical Stitches was Harry Potter in 2019, and this year it's Disney. They're doing the Kingdom Keepers books and the villain books that go they're doing them side by side this year. So following along for now, I'll for sure do the weekly homeworks and the monthly extra credits, and then I'll add to the group challenges as I can. The nice thing is that you can do penalty stitches, so you don't have to follow the prompts if you don't have a piece. I'm not going to just willy-nilly make starts. I said in my last video, I have, a certain number of starts that I want to do this year, 6. I've actually upped that to 7, which I'll talk about in a minute. And so I want to limit my starts to those. So if I can fit a whip into the prompt, I will do it. And if not, I will do penalty stitches. So, which is fine. That works out. The other item that I've worked on this year already is this little house piece. And I keep calling it weather vane. It's actually called 4 corners. So just so you see, 4 corners. I am working on the north corner right there. So, and I'm actually pretty close to being done. I've done, I did all the snow down here, all the white snow I did. And some of the snow up here and snowflakes. I have a little bit of more snow around these trees and then a few snowflakes, and then I need to personalize it, and this will be done. Again, I've used this for an extra credit in Magical Stitches for January, and once I get all the snow done and the personalization, 1 extra credit will be done, and I'll be able to move to the south, the south block, which you're not going to be able to see it very well, but I do have some of that south block done right there. I'll just go back to it and start working on it. So anyway, this is one of my 6 that I want to get finished this year that I've had as a whip for a long time. I started the north-south charts in 2019, but the weather vane had been started prior to that. So I do want to get that one done and off my plate. So speaking of my plan. So again, Melissa and I are doing the year of smalls in 6. So we're doing 20 smalls and 6 of our previous whips we want to finish. And so I had listed out the 6 in my last video that I wanted to do. And one of them was America, Land That We Love by Jean Farish. And as I sat here and I've thought about it the last few days, one of the things that I made a comment on in Melissa's video when we did the YouTube or the Flosstube with her when I was in California was I said, I like this chart, but I'll never display it in my home. And I've been thinking about that statement for a while. And I thought, why am I going to continue to work on a project that A, I don't like the fabric on, and B, I'm admitting that I'll never put it in my home because it's an older version chart. It's from the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, and it has very much that look, and it's not my style anymore. When I started it, I loved it, and I just don't anymore. And I'm going to take Melissa's philosophy moving forward, and if I don't love it, why should I work on it? I have other things that I do love that, I mean, I have, 50 kitted projects that I do love. So I've decided to take that off my list and move on from it. And I think that I'll be happy with that decision moving forward, which means I need to add, that was one of my 6. So I need to add to my 6. And I didn't bring it in because I just showed it in my last video, but I'm going to add the Lizzie Kate Flip It, Boo Club Flip It's. It's the one that I'm doing on the orange and tangerine 24 count banding. So I'm going to add that one to my list. So that will be added to my 6 and to be finished hopefully in 2020. So I'll just add that into my rotation. So anyway, so that's a little bit of change of plans there. And then I just wanted to kind of recap the stitch alongs that I've gotten myself into this year. So I'm committing myself to Magical Stitches again, which is a pretty big commitment for any of you following, especially right now in the beginning of this process. They've changed things the way it works this year from when it was Harry Potter, which is fine. But there's a lot of group stitching going on right now, a little bit of confusion on the yearlies and things like that. Just trying to find your way. I mean, we're what, 5 days in? Phone, somebody's calling me. We're going to go ahead and ignore that though. So it's either my mom or it's Melissa. So they'll figure it out. I'll call them back. So sorry. Anyway, so Magical Stitches is a little bit hectic and chaotic right now just because there's a learning curve to the new process. We're only 5 days in though, so I think it'll smooth out. I've already got my week 1 homework done, got my extra credit plan for the year or for the January already. I've managed to get all of the extra credit I'm working on will be on one of my 6 projects that I want to get done in 2020. And then they've put homework out for week 2. They did that last night. I don't know that I have anything that fits any of the prompts, maybe one, but they all only have 50 extra stitches for penalty stitches. So I'll probably do penalty stitches on most of the prompts this week as well, which is perfect because then that just what I'm trying to do is if I'm doing penalty stitches or for the group stitches, I'm working on one of my 6 projects so that I'm making progress on one at all times. So anyway, so Magical Stitches, not really a stitch along, but it's something I've committed to. But the year of smalls, we've committed, Melissa and I are doing 20 smalls in 2020, which you all know about, and we're getting followers on our hashtag, which is great. It's hashtag the year of smalls, and I'll put it in the show notes down below. So feel free to join us. The hashtag's out there on Instagram, and we're excited. Like I said, I've got 2 done already, and those little flip it bits go really quickly. I mean, I can stitch one up in a couple of nights. And so that's encouraging to have a finish like that so quickly. So Melissa and I are also doing the Pumpkin Farm Sal. It's the Pumpkin Farm from Shannon Christine, which you've seen in both of our videos. And so her and I are doing that one together. If you're stitching on it, feel free to join us. Pumpkin Farm Sal is the hashtag that we're using. I think Melissa's the only one who's hashtagged it so far, but I will begin hashtagging it. And then the Suffrage Act from Little House Needleworks, that is going to be a SAL this year with Stitching with the Sisterlies, Michelle Bendy, and 2 Martini Stitcher. I have that chart and I actually had started it in the fall. And so I think that's a no time frame type of SAL. I think I had seen somebody say that the goal was just to have it done by Election Day in 2020. My goal is to actually have it done before that. The actual anniversary of the act is in August, I believe, August 9th. I could be wrong on that, but it's August for sure. So my goal is to have it done by then and FFO'd and hanging in my home. So I love that piece and it will be done before the anniversary of the act. So, and then there's another SAL going on for ornaments. So, Ericadhouse and Made by Michelle McGraw on Instagram, they are doing a 2020 ornament SAL. So when I do ornaments as part of my smalls, I will go ahead and tag Ornament SAL 2020 to participate in that. And then 2 new ones I've added. So those 4 were ones that I'd already kind of been part of and I'm committed to, but I've added 2 since the beginning of the year. So the first one is going to be the Linen and Thread Sampler SAL. They released the first part in the beginning of January. And I'm not usually a mystery sampler or a mystery chart type of person. If I'm going to commit fabric and fibers and time to a piece, I want to make sure that it's something I want to do, frankly. And, you know, it's hard. I've looked back at some of their previous ones, and while they're beautiful, they're not necessarily my style. But that first part of that piece, first of all, it's a Quaker, which I adore Quakers. I have the very first one I've done, well, the only Quaker I've done is Hannah BB. And I have that, well, it's not hanging because right now nothing is hanging on my walls because I just moved in a couple months ago and I haven't committed to putting anything on my walls yet, but it will hang in my home. I love it. And one of these days I'll drag it in here and show you. I don't know that it'll do it justice because it's, you know, framed and behind glass, but I will show you. And then, so that's the only Quaker that I've done, but I love Quakers. I love the look of it. I love the motifs. And so first of all, this is a Quaker sampler, and the butterfly in that first part is everything. I've never seen something like that. And in a Quaker, and I love that. So I decided to jump on that bandwagon. And also then somebody else said that this is like the 400th year anniversary of samplers coming to America. So kind of perfect timing to do a sampler in the 400th year as well. So I'm going to do the linen and thread Sampler SAL 2020. I did get an order in under the wire with 123 for some fabric and fiber. I'm not going to use different colors. I've picked a Threadworks fiber that I'm going to use. And so I'm just going to be monochromatic on a piece of lamb's wool, 36 count, I think is what I got. When it comes in, I'll show you what I'm going to use. And I hope that I'm going to keep up with that. The first part that came out looked very reasonable in size. So I don't think it'll be a problem to keep up with it once I get caught up. So, and then the other SAL that I found out about yesterday was Janetjabber on Instagram. She is doing One Nation by Bygone Stitches. And I've had this chart for a long time, and I love this chart. And so I am going to join along with her. And what she's doing is she's doing 1 star and 1 state a week. That's perfect, because that'll get this done in a year. And it's a low commitment. I mean, really, because letters go really fast. Now, here's the problem with that for me, is that I started upper left. Let's see if I can show this. This is my silly little start on One Nation. I started upper left, and as you can see, I headed down. So I'm going to have to change my directional and start going left so that I can get over to the words. So it may take me a couple, 3 weeks to get caught up, but I hope to be caught up by the end of January with having 4 states and 4 stars done, and go from there. So I also need to become more comfortable with stitching on a stitching frame. So this is I cannot remember the name of this frame, because I got 2 different ones. I've got are they the quantum frames? The ones that take forever, that everybody talks about, that they take like months and months and months and you never hear anything, and then like a year later they show up. My first set of stuff was from them. Melissa and I, SticherMel, had ordered together because they were coming from overseas, and we got, I think, fairly lucky because we got our order in about 2.5 months, and this was several years ago. But it seems like since then it takes a long time. And then but now there's another place that you can order very similar from I think Almanac, and from Estonia, I think is where they're from, and they come much quicker, less than a month. And so I have some scroll raw from both of them, and I like them both. They both work fine. Both work the same. I struggle with being a two-handed stitcher though. I like to hold Q-stamps in my hand and stitch with my right hand. So stitching in a frame where it requires two-handed stitching is just something for me to learn, get used to. But anyway, on a bigger piece, I do like to do that if I can. So anyway, so that is 6 stitch alongs that I have then committed myself to this year. And so we'll see how that goes along with all the other stitching I want to get done. I don't know. We'll see. And then really that's all I have to talk about today. So a fairly short video. Like I said at the beginning, I don't know really what my schedule is going to be for these. I don't know if they'll be weekly, probably every other week for sure. But if I have something to say every week, maybe it'll be every week. I don't know. It'll probably be on a weekend, Saturday or Sunday. Try and get into some sort of a routine. I don't know. So anyway, that's all I got today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And